This episode of Sideline Warning is brought to you by Roosport, makers of the original magnetic running pouch. Whether you're biking, running, hiking, or even traveling, the Roosport clips to your waistband with magnets for an easy, convenient way to carry what you need without the bulk of belts or bags. Visit theroosport.com and use the code SIDELINE30, all lowercase, for 30% off their entire product line. Again, that's theroosport.com, promo code SIDELINE30. And now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, put down your solo cups and fried pickles because this is Sideline Warning, the show with the perfect balance of hot sports takes, amazing insights, and good Lord, amen, get off my lawn style rants. If you want to be a part of the madness, call the Blitz line at 931-44-BLITZ. That's B-L-I-T-Z, because that's how you spell Blitz. And now, here to recap this week's biggest and best stories from around the Southeast and beyond are your hosts, the phenomenal brother Adam Russell and the golden voice of the Southeast, Dave Adams. Let's do this.
And welcome to Sideline Warning, everybody. As you heard in the brand new intro, you've got the one, the only, the golden voice of the Southeast, Dave Adams, coming to you live and in living color from Harvest, Alabama, all the way from the top of the state, because I am on top of everything. And before we bring everybody in, let's just address the 5,000-pound elephant in the room. Yes, Hollywood Ben Foster has left the show, but there is no animosity between me and Adam. There's nothing like, and Ben, it's nothing like that. We are all still friends. Ben just had too much things on his plate, and he had to take care of things, and Sideline Warning was the one thing that got pushed back. But, like we said last week, he will be back because no one knows basketball as well as Ben Foster. But, having said that, let's bring in the phenomenal brother Adam Russell. Adam, I'm not even going to go through all your cities today.
I don't know what to say. It's just the two of us. We don't have suburbs. We have a new intro. What is going on? Dogs and cats living together, Dave.
I know, man. Hey, real quick, for those of you who don't know the voice of the intro is now The Grease. And he is from the podcast. For those of you who don't listen to a whiskey podcast, him and Will Haynes do a whiskey podcast that releases every Monday morning, Sunday night. Great, funny listening. Even if you don't drink bourbon, it's great to listen to.
Oh, yeah.
Go in there, tell them how great they are. Tell Grease how great his intro was on Sideline Warning, because I don't think he could have done that any better.
Oh, no, it fully encapsulates what we're all about, Dave.
I know.
Fried pickle, especially the part about fried pickles.
You know, he said put down your solo cups and fried pickles. What am I drinking out of right now, Adam?
A solo cup, and you made me wish I had some fried pickles. I would actually be picking up my fried pickles, not putting them down.
Well,
but I understand the sentiment. You have to listen to the show and give us your full attention. Otherwise, you might miss something.
You might miss.
I mean, we're coming with the best stuff out there.
You might miss the good Lord, amen, get off my lawn rants.
Off my lawn rants. And can I just say, Whiskey Podcast sounds like a Brad Paisley song.
It really does, doesn't it?
Doesn't it sound like something that he might, it kind of has the ring to it as that online song he did, right?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe there you go, Brad. I know you're a listener up in West Virginia.
He's in Nashville now, isn't he?
Is he in Nashville? Well, wherever you are. We have a Tennessee guy. It's Brad Paisley. We have some listeners there. There you go. There's your idea for a new song. I'll send you the lyrics later, buddy.
There you go.
So anyway, let's get this show on the road, man.
All right. So, look, we lost the basketball guy, but we still have to talk about basketball because, what is it, like 2 days after our show aired, Alabama announced that they were parting ways with Avery Johnson?
About time, man. I can't believe they let that simmer as long as it did after the NIT incident.
Well, I mean, we knew pretty much right after the NIT incident that Avery was going to be let go.
Well, let's recap really quick, Dave. What is the NIT incident for anybody who for any fogs out there that may not be as plugged in?
Alabama lost to I don't even know who they lost to.
An 8 seed, Norfolk State.
Norfolk State, yeah, a team from the MEAC. I mean, yeah, they won their conference, but they're the MEAC. They won in Coleman Coliseum.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's rumors coming out now that Avery had lost the team. I mean, that's anybody who's watching games the last 2 to 3 weeks of the season could tell you Avery lost that team. There was nothing going on with that team that showed that he was in control. Players were playing lackadaisical. When they had the chance to go in, you had guys like Tim Mack playing well. We found out today that Dazon Ingram is leading the program. Yep. I honestly, Ben would probably hate to hear me say this. Don't let the door hit you or the good Lord split you, because I think Dazon was part of the problem.
Well, we said it ourselves. I think it was 2-3 weeks ago that we were at that point where the leadership from within was going to have to step up. I mean, Nick Saban talks about it all the time, and yes, I'm using a football reference.
The new era is here. The new era is here.
Get used to it, guys. We don't have anybody to roll your eyes at us anymore. So, I mean, we talked about it on the show that it was time for leadership to come up from within the team, from with some of this veteran leadership and these players that have been around the block a few times, and it just didn't happen. Wholesale across the board, and there's that clock again. I think that's going to happen every time on the show now. That's a new tradition.
There you go.
But I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but we got to that point where to your point, Dave, he had lost the team, and somebody was going to have to step up and lead from within, and it just didn't happen. I mean, when you lose to an 8 seed in the NIT in your home court, that is truly the death knell. And I'll let Dave back me up on how frustrated I was that they didn't act immediately.
It was
that
pretty bad. I mean, I expected Adam thought that as soon as the 000s hit, I figured that Adam wanted a ESPN update saying, yep, Avery's gone.
Yeah, why not? I mean, at that point, and I know you have to negotiate a buyout, and there's contractual and legal things that have to happen, and it takes a little bit of time. But just the fact that it happened and it wasn't the next day was rather frustrating, especially after the quote-unquote absurd rant I went on it with Greg Byrne. But I'll continue that rant later. I'll save my thoughts on that for the sideline warnings. But I think overall, I think you can see, though, Dave, I'm really at the point, though, where it's time to get this one right. It's time for us to put basketball where it belongs. Either we put it in the middle of the pack and we say that it's never going to be competitive in the SEC to the point where we could win an SEC championship in the next 5 years, or we're going to hire somebody where we do. I mean, Auburn's made it now. How many SEC teams are in the Sweet 16? 4?
Yeah.
Kentucky, LSU, Auburn, and Tennessee.
Yeah.
And who saw LSU and Auburn? I mean, they've played really well. They've risen to the challenge. And I think you even see a team like UCF play out of their minds against Duke and almost win that game. And you see these programs surpassing us now. And if there was a long time where all of us were fine with football was the thing, basketball was just a distraction when it wasn't football season. But we're at that point now where other teams are really making us look bad within our own conference. And it's time for us to step up and be one of the schools that wins it more than just that. I mean, we're doing it now in baseball, softball. It's time for basketball.
I agree. I agree. And I think Greg Byrne agrees with you, too, because we are recording this on a Monday night. The reason we waited till Monday night is because we wanted to see what the brackets happen. We wanted to watch the entire round of 32 and not record before Friday hit or before all the games were over. But I had some rumblings that Greg Byrne was going to speak on Monday to address what this new football or this new basketball coaching situation was going to look like. First off, the first thing that I think Greg Byrne wanted to hammer home is there is no coaching firm search. This is Greg Byrne doing the hiring, doing the getting people in and out. So whatever rumors you hear, whatever people say, oh, this person is on campus, unless you hear it from Greg Byrne, it didn't happen.
Well, that's his MO. He did it with Mullen, right?
Right.
And Mississippi State, he did it at Arizona. I think that's kind of his thing, and I'm fine with it. I appreciate, and I'll step back a little bit from the rant I went on the other day where I said his job was on the line, but I appreciate the transparency more than anything else. I think it's good for Alabama Nation to hear from him at this point, because if he went into total radio silence right after that, it would be nothing but rumors and speculation. And I think we already saw how big the Patino thing got very quickly on Twitter.
Right.
I mean, that was something we kind of half-heartedly joked about, several months ago when basketball season kind of went off the rails in December, January. But I mean, I was all for it. I think, though, he made a pretty clear statement, though, that the specific words he used about the NCAA, the specific words he used about the reputation of the program, pretty much puts the Pitino thing to bed.
Yeah.
I think that he's not going to give us any more information than that, but he put that to bed, and I think now he'll go pretty radio silent. But I'm glad that he did this beforehand, because I think it shows everybody at least what the thought process is, and that he's putting some rigor around it. So
yeah. So what you were alluding to what he said. This is a direct quote. In terms of what we're looking for in a head coach: player development, college background, strong academics, NCAA compliance. Those will be the four of the primary factors we'll be looking at. We want a relentless recruiter, somebody who has the ability to put together a great staff and recruits well and makes our student athletes better across the board. We are not terribly concerned with geographic footprint. We're not terribly concerned about winning the press conference. We are concerned with getting a great basketball coach for the University of Alabama. So what I see in that statement, I see two things. One, you're right, Adam. He puts Rick Pitino to bed. We're not going after Rick Pitino. And if we do, we know for a 100% certain that there is no NCAA issues with Rick Pitino. I honestly don't think Pitino's the guy.
Yeah.
But the other thing I see here is the statement, we're not terribly concerned about winning the press conference. What was Avery best known for? He was best known for his little 3 to 4 second bites.
Yep.
You know, we're going to buckle up. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Avery won every press conference he was at.
Yeah.
I think Greg Byrne made a strong statement of what was wrong with Avery and what we're looking for at this guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to replace the recruiting. There's no doubt about that. But I think with the geographic footprint, it opens up a lot of folks that we're not just going to look to somebody who's a homeboy. I mean, I don't think Prom's off the table in by any means, right? I think he's still there.
I do,
but I think
actually.
that part of – do you really? Do you
Yes.
think that's part of the statement that he's making
do.
by saying geographic footprint?
Yep, I do.
So who do you think then, if you had to pick? I still think Prom's a front runner, but
If I had to pick, I say it's Thad Matta.
Thad Matta, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that one out there too.
And of course, I'm going totally against what Greg Byrne said, but we are this is what we do. So we have to latch on to everything. A trusted source that I follow that has been correct with a lot of other sources came out today and said that Thad Matta was on campus today.
Oh, well, there you go. If that's true.
If that's true.
But that's like Kimbrell at the Orlando airport. He might just be passing through.
Right.
I mean, I'd be happy with that. I just think at the end of the day, it's time for us to choose. And if we didn't have 4 SEC teams in the Sweet 16, I think it would take some of the pressure off of Greg Byrne a little bit. But the fact that we do, and one of them is the Cal College right across the state,
right,
means that this has got to be nailed. It has to be. There's no choice.
Right.
So
I do kind of laugh at this statement. A reporter asked him and said, "Well, what was kind of the issue between Avery? Why was he fired?" He said, "We landed in a spot where both sides felt good about it. We're moving forward. It was a mutual decision between myself and Avery." There was no mutual decision. Avery got canned.
Well, it's a mutual decision on him because they were like, all right, how about $6 million? And he's like, okay, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good place for him because he's gonna have enough to keep himself safe until he finds a lesser job to take. Yeah. But no, it's not mutual. I mean, it was time. I mean, there's no discussion about it. It was, you're going to go, let's hammer out the details, is how it should have been approached at least.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
So you're going to go on record and saying that you think it's going to be Prom, or
that would be my front runner. I'm in the same court with you that I think it could be Matta too, though.
Okay. I think that Thad Matta might be the guy that everyone's looking at. Remember, Thad Matta did turn Georgia down last year.
Yeah, that's true.
He was 13 years at Ohio State.
Yep.
He left because he had some health issues. I'm not 100% sure what those health issues were, but everything I have read said that they have worked themselves out. Thad Matta is only 51.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's still considered a quote-unquote young guy.
So are you off the hire Hoiberg bandwagon then?
I wouldn't mind Hoiberg. I think he is a guy that people are going to look at.
Yeah.
But if I had my choice between Hoiberg, who was only the head coach at Iowa State for 4 years, versus Thad Matta, who has a track record at Ohio State for 13 years, I think I would look at Thad Matta. over Hoiberg.
Yeah. I'd be happy either way, to be honest.
I think we could.
I'm just glad that we're at a position where, based off the press conference today, it sounds like that the right decision for the university and the program is going to be made, and that we're in a position where we're doing it. I was fully convinced we were going to sit for another year. So I personally am just happy that we're at the point where we're going to make a choice and we're going to find somebody. But it's got to be done right. But I'll
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think it's got to be done right. We have to make the decision. I think we have to act fast. I think that you made the point to say that it's going to take some time. Honestly, if I was a betting man, I'd say we'd have a head coach by next Wednesday.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just mentioned something in the conference about there are still teams playing. We don't want to rush just to get done, that kind of thing. So it could go either way. I mean, that could be just typical press conference bullcrap, or that could be they're actually going to take a little bit of time. We'll see. I'd be surprised if it was that fast, though. But
if he's saying something to the effect of there's still teams playing, I think then he's looking at possibly somebody who's coaching right now. But
Norfolk State's coach.
Yeah, no, they lose they lose tomorrow to Colorado.
I'm kidding. But yeah, I think that's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. If I was a betting man, my money would be on Thad Matta.
Yeah.
But something else is going on in basketball. I think we need to kind of move away from Bama because I think we have nailed that point home this week and weeks past. This is where we might have a small disadvantage with just you and I on the show because you and I are of like-mindedness.
Yeah.
We wanted Avery gone in December.
Yep.
So I think it would be nice to bring in some guests who like CJ, who is very much an Avery fan. But we do need to talk about the tournament going on right now. We all made our bold predictions last week on the show. I am 11. I have 11 of 16 still active right now. Adam, how does your bracket look?
Oh, dude, honestly, I don't know the number off the top of my head. Looking at it, I think I have 1, 2, 3. Hang on, give me a second. This makes for riveting podcasting. I know 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I'm at 12.
Okay, so
because I didn't have Texas Tech. I don't think I had Auburn. Some of those that they kind of ruined it. But I did pick. I want to say I did pick Murray State right.
I did too.
And I was hopeful that they would keep running, but they didn't.
No.
And again, who saw UCF coming like that? It's been a really good tournament to watch. It's been very entertaining. But I think I'm at 12 of the 16.
It's been a good tournament to watch for Alabama basketball because keep in mind, Alabama played Baylor, Alabama played UCF. Of course, all the SEC teams are going. Alabama played Liberty, who upset Mississippi State. So these are for teams that Alabama lost to that we were scratching our heads at the beginning of the season. UCF was one of those losses that you went to the game and you were pissed off at how bad Alabama played.
But we led. I mean, we came back and we're in a position to win it, and then we just went on one of our trademark scoring droughts, But I mean, UCF showed up. And how mad are you going to be at Bruce Pearl if Auburn beats the Tar Heels, man?
Oh, it's not going to happen. It will not happen.
We'll see. They beat Kansas, dude. I would have never in a million years, but hey.
But that's not top shelf Kansas.
But you didn't answer my question. How mad would you be at Bruce Pearl?
I believe anybody who is down in Florida would be able to hear me screaming at the top of my lungs.
We'd have a sideline report for 30 minutes of just a special edition of Dave saying bad things about Bruce Pearl.
I might have to put that expletive warning on that sideline report.
One episode you need to keep your kids away from. Oh my gosh.
I will say I have lost one of my Elite Eight. Villanova lost to Purdue in really bad fashion.
Yeah. Yep.
But the upsets that I'm shocked happened. First off, I do think that Auburn over New Mexico State was an upset. Because if you really look at it, New Mexico State had every opportunity to win that game.
Yeah, they did.
From passing up a wide open layup to missing a three, to making one of 3 free throws.
Yeah.
To then missing another wide open 3. So I think that Auburn, I know the old adage is I'd rather be lucky than good. Auburn, you apparently some of that Gus Malzahn prayer up to God magic worked in that basketball game because you were more lucky than good in that game.
Yeah, that had all the markings of a 12-5 special right there.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, all the way through.
And if you look at it, the only 5 seed that lasted was Auburn.
Yeah. That's right.
I think, let's see, I only missed one 5-12. I missed both of them. Both SEC schools I missed.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mississippi State, man, that was disappointing for them as well as they did in the conference. But
yeah. I do want to say this.
Yeah.
Did UCF show a blueprint to how to beat Duke, or is that just because they had a 7'6" guy on the team?
I think it's that wild card, man. He set the record for field goal percentage too. I mean, how can you miss something, and not get a good field goal percentage in your career when you're literally 2.5 feet from the basket?
Well, not even that. I was doing some research on him because my wife was just in awe of him.
Yeah.
His standing arm span.
Oh yeah.
Is 10'6".
Yeah.
So he doesn't even have to jump to dunk
he doesn't.
basketball.
And if it's hard to defend, you can definitely take advantage of it. And I think UCF did play that to their advantage. I don't think they have the talent of Duke though. I don't know that it was a blueprint more than they took advantage of what they had in the moment.
And now Virginia Tech Duke is something we've seen all year because they're 2 ACC schools. Does Virginia Tech stand a prayer in anywhere to beat Duke?
I don't think so. No, because if UCF did exploit something against Duke, Duke will close it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they've got a run. I think they've got a good shot against Virginia Tech for sure.
I agree.
Yep.
While we're on that subject, I know we're jumping around, but I forgot to bring this up.
Yeah.
I've had some good friends of mine and who are good sports guys who have come to me and asked, what about Bobby Hurley from Arizona State as a coaching candidate? Keep in mind, and it's a great name. Arizona State's a great program. But Bobby Hurley is pretty much widely known as the heir apparent to Coach K. Would you be okay at Alabama getting a guy like Bobby Hurley for 4 to 5 years knowing that he will leave for Duke when Duke comes calling?
Yeah, I actually would be. If it's like I mentioned a few weeks back, if Greg has a vision, right? If Byrne has a vision and he's going to lay that out, and you can put somebody like Bobby Hurley that can help while the facilities are being upgraded and while everything's being brought in line, we could actually get the program into a consistent rhythm. I think that would be just as valuable as having somebody there for the next 12 years. Because if you have a succession plan after Bobby of who you would think to go after or what your next step would be after that, I would be fine with it. Now, if we're going to hire another Avery Johnson on the back end of Bobby being there, then it's pointless to try, right?
Right.
But I think if you use it as a stepping stone and kind of try to build some consistency and bring some prestige into the program, even if it is temporary, you can use that to attract who the next person is. If it's done right, I'd be cool with that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And before we move on,
what do you think? I mean, would you be okay with it?
To be honest, no. I don't think Alabama needs to be a stepping stone program. I think that Alabama basketball isn't Alabama football. We've hammered that home numerous times on this show.
True.
Adam and I we're not a normal FOG because we do follow basketball. We do like the basketball program, but Adam and I have the thought process of a lot of FOGs.
Yeah.
But having said that, the Crimson Tide Alabama Bryant A does not need to be a stepping stone. No matter what sport you're in, the Bryant A needs to be a destination school, not a stepping stone school. So I don't know if I'm okay hiring a guy knowing that in 4 to 5 years when Coach K retires, he's going to be the guy at Duke.
So can I use an engineering reference?
Go ahead.
I'm reading a book, as all good nerds do at some point in time, about materials, right?
Right.
Yes, I'm reading a book about materials. You heard that correctly.
I mean, you are
one of the chapters in it talks about the Shard in London. And in order to build the Shard, it's that kind of football-shaped building, right?
Right.
In order to build the Shard, they had to first pour, I think they said something like 1,000 truckloads of concrete.
Okay.
and then pour concrete molds in the interior of the building to build the structure and the foundation. Then they put in the glass and all the stuff that makes it the shard. If Bobby Hurley is the pouring of the concrete for the next 5 years, so that then we can bring in somebody who can put on all the other accoutrement and window dressing around it to turn it into a prestigious program and take that mantle, I'm okay with it. Sometimes you've got to pour the concrete, even though you know it's not the fun work. You've got to pour the concrete to get it in a place where you can make it pretty. And if we can do that with somebody like Bobby Hurley, I'd be okay with it.
Okay. I will.
There you go.
Okay. You might have told and brought me to the other side. I'm not there yet.
Wow.
But I mean that is a great analogy. You brought your nerdisms into the show. And
shucks.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I guess my last question before we move on to talking about our great sponsors. My last question is, you had Duke winning it all.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a chance to. Do you want to change your Final Four pick? Do you want to change Duke winning it all?
No. I don't want to change Duke winning it all. I think the UCF is a wake-up for them. And like I said before, they tighten it up, and I think they run all the way.
Okay. Are your Final Four still the same as it was?
I'm looking. Yes.
Okay.
It is.
I think I'm the exact same way. I'm going to still go with Carolina. I think Carolina is the deepest team in this bracket. I think I'm going to I got Duke, Florida State, Virginia, North Carolina. I don't think Tennessee has what it takes to stay with Virginia. I think it will be Virginia, Tennessee in the Elite Eight. But I hate to pick all chalk. But I was looking at it at something today. The only non-chalk teams in this bracket are Auburn and Oregon. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This has really been a weird, non-upset-minded driven bracket.
Well, and I would have honestly thought of all seasons, when you look at some of the records of the top teams, there's not, the 1 and 2 loss teams like you've seen before. I would have thought this would have been the year where you've seen a little bit more chaos in the bracket.
Right.
Just because everybody's had their moments where they just haven't shown up. But like I said, I think Duke had their moment, and I don't think they'll have another one again. But we'll see. That's why they play the games, right?
Yeah, that's exactly why they play the games. And that's exactly why we run too, is to train for things, to get our minds off of things. And the product that we use to run, you heard us talk about it all the time, is the Roo Sport product. It helps you go on a run to where you could just throw it in a pouch. Adam, you introduce a product to me, so why don't you gloat on it?
Yeah, I mean, you guys, if you're new to the show, check out theroosport.com. If you're not new to the show, check it out anyway again, because everybody can benefit from this. Our listeners have heard us talk about it a lot, but it's one of the things we talk about, pouring the concrete. We talk about building the foundation. One of the foundations of a lot of the uses for Roo Sport, whether you're running, hiking, traveling, knowing that you've got somewhere to put your stuff. And we've talked about it with running, right, Dave? One of the great things about running is you grab your shoes, you put on some running clothes, you grab your Roo Sport, you're out the door.
Right.
There's nothing really you have to pack, nothing like that. The Roo Sport handles your phone. It handles a key for your house. It handles the gels or sport beans or whatever you have to fuel with. And it has so many other different uses where you can put your passport, you can put your phone, you can put your stuff from your wallet can go in there, and it's on you, not in your pocket where somebody else could get to it or it could fall out, and it's secured on your waistband. So it's one of those foundational things that you use it to run, but then it gets so many other uses in your life. And I follow the Alton Brown mentality. I don't know if any Good Eats fans out there, it's coming back on the cooking channel. It's coming back.
Oh, Lord.
But Alton Brown always rants against unitaskers, and the Roo Sport is not a unitasker. That's the best thing about it at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's not.
So.
We're training a new golden retriever. The golden voice of the Southeast has a golden retriever. How apropos is that? Ben was training a new puppy too. Use it for when you're training a puppy. Put those treats in your Roo Sport. Both Adam and I just ran this half marathon at Disney last month, and we both used ours. Throw our phone in there. We throw some gels in there. You're good to go. It's easy. It's great to use. And they've done something great for our listeners. Use the promo code SIDELINE30, all lowercase, the number 30. Get you 30% off of anything you want on that website. There's a ton of stuff. There's not just the pouches. There's also the power banks. There's the Rue Lounger, which I still haven't gotten a video of me opening it and putting it on Instagram. I'm going to do that eventually. But
we demand it, Dave. We demand it.
Okay, you demand it. But you get 30% off of all of that, and it's great product. www.therusport.com. Check them out. We love it. We know you'll love it. And we need to, Adam, I think our next week, we need to try to get Brenda on.
Yeah.
Because we talked to Earl.
I want to hear some stories, man.
Yeah, we talked to Earl.
She sounds like she's got some good stories about all the marathons she runs.
Earl is the Brenda's husband. We talked to Earl at the Princess Half Expo, and he said that she'd run like almost 50 marathons. Yeah. And using the Rue Sport at all of them.
That's hard to believe. Not the using the Rue Sport, but the 50 marathons.
I've done 2 halves, and I'm.
That's one full. You've made it 1/50th of the way there.
There you go. All right. Well, the other topic we got to get into. We are recording this 3 days away from Major League Baseball season.
I love it.
Technically, we can say Major League Baseball season already started in Japan. But the Mariners and the A's really didn't start Major League Baseball season. It was fun waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to maybe watch a little pro baseball. But
you woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch pro baseball.
Adam, what jersey am I wearing right now?
Dave, you woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and not to watch baseball, but you woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'm training a puppy.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay.
So you woke up and then took care of the puppy and then turned the game on. Okay, got it. Okay.
So baseball's on. So let's we did it last year. We ad nauseum picked the Major League Baseball year. Before we do that, let's get into some stuff that happened with the Braves this week. You and I have been very outspoken about the Braves not signing people. Well, lo and behold, the Braves made 2 additions, a pitcher and an outfielder this week. Matt Joyce and I don't even remember. Tomlin? Was that who it was, the other pitcher?
Yes.
Yeah. That's not Dallas Keuchel and Craig Kimbrell.
It's not?
No. Now, Matt Joyce played well tonight. In fact, the first game at SunTrust was tonight. They packed up, left Disney, went down to Northport Richie or wherever they are now.
Northport, yeah.
Yeah, and then they played a game at SunTrust tonight against the Reds. In fact, I think it's still going. But by what I saw, Matt Joyce has 2 RBIs. So maybe he'll be a good addition to the team. But he's not Craig Kimbrell, and he's not Dallas Keuchel.
Nope.
In fact, Tomlin looked decent, but he's not Dallas Keuchel.
Well, I also wasn't aware that we had any holes in the outfield that we needed to plug. So,
yeah,
I mean, he adds a little bit of depth and another bat. But, I mean, come on, man. We need some pitching, dude. Have you seen our rotation?
Right.
We have 2 starters and 2 relief pitchers that are injured.
And the 2 starters were starting against Philly. 3 starters. Julio Teheran, who's a failure. I'm going to say it now. Hashtag failure. He is my failure for this year. And then Bryce Wilson, who I'd never heard of.
Yeah, exactly.
And Kyle Wright, who is from my hometown. I will say I've heard a lot about him because, I mean, he's a hometown boy.
Yeah.
And we know the Braves have a lot of history with drafting people from Huntsville. Bring him back. Okay, there we go. I said it.
There you said it. There it is. There it is.
They have been saying, though, that there are 2 teams in the race for Kimbrell, the Brewers and the Braves. So the Braves still could get Kimbrell, but we're getting short on time.
We're waiting on Liberty Media to release the funds into the budget so that we can go after the asking price. That's the problem. But, I mean, you sit here and we say it in what feels like sometimes with the Braves front office into the void, right? Because there's no movement. And you keep posting that do something kind of thing, right?
Do something.
And it's like we signed Darren in the offseason, right? We signed Gausman.
Mm-hmm. No, Gausman was a trade.
Gausman was a trade, and Darren O'Day, right?
Right.
But we got both of them since last season, right?
No, we got him from the Orioles last year.
From the Orioles.
Right.
But both injured.
Right.
It's like, okay, those didn't work out. Now Folty's hurt. And I know that Gausman and Folty, I think they're going to be back, early, mid-April?
Right.
I mean, they won't be out long, but you don't know how they're going to come back from that injury.
Right.
And that makes me really nervous. And the problem is now with Gausman and Folty, we have holes potentially in the starting rotation with a Swiss cheese of a bullpen sitting behind them. You got two closers in Vizcaino and Minter. Minter's injured right now, and it's just like, oh, just please. When I heard Greg Byrne talk about win the press conference, I had more of a feeling of like making a splash. Please win the press conference and make a splash and tell us that you signed him. Please, we got to have one of the two guys you keep harping on has got to come through. It just has to.
At this point, you have to sign Kimbrel. I don't see any reason not to. Now, 6 years, $80 million, whatever he's asking, that's a little much. I think Kimbrel needs to come down on his number a little bit. But honestly, he's worth it.
I think so too. I mean, it's not Bryce Harper money, right? I mean, for Pete's sake, at the end of the day, it's not Bryce Harper money, but I think it's an investment. If you want to have somebody who's going to stick out probably the remaining time they've got left with you, and they're going to make a little bit of money, and you're probably going to have some games, because we talked about it last season, man, towards the end, how many one-run games were out there where we just needed somebody to come in and close the door, and it just seemed like it couldn't happen sometimes. We need somebody we can rely on in that both in the bullpen and as a closer, and it seems like such a no-brainer that it's incredibly frustrating that it hasn't happened yet. I mean, that's another dead horse we've beat, Dave.
Awesome
but I just can't stop talking about it.
How awesome would it be to have Kimbrel come out of the bullpen in SunTrust Park? The lights go down. You hear AC/DC's Thunderstruck. And all of a sudden, it's Kimbrel walking out of the bullpen.
I mean,
it's a no-brainer.
I would want to go see that in person, to be honest. I would go see a Braves game to see that happen.
I know you drive the 6 hours to Atlanta. I would drive the 4 hours to Atlanta. There is no doubt in my mind Sideline Warning would have a presence at SunTrust Park.
I might even go see the main attraction at SunTrust Park, which is the outdoor mall.
You might. They've got a really cool baseball store.
The sub-attraction of the Braves, I would definitely go see. But the main attraction, the outdoor mall, I've eaten at one restaurant there. That was all I got to do.
I might even stay at the Omni. I mean,
wow!
I know,
now you're talking.
I know.
Look at you. Hey, excuse me, big spender.
Hey, now hold up. Sideline Warning doesn't pay me that much.
But I think it's like I said, it's such a big no-brainer that it's like, how could you not do it? But at the end of the day, I think what the Braves and Liberty Media have to realize is if they don't sign him, everybody's going to come down that Liberty Media is hamstringing the front office, and that story perception is reality, right? And that story seems true. Because every Brave story you look at on Facebook, all comments are like, oh, Liberty Media is the worst owner for a baseball team, and Liberty Media is not letting AA do what he needs to do. And whether or not that's reality, it's the perception. And when you have a Greg Byrne approach where you've got transparency and press conferences and information, you don't deal with that stuff. But when you create a vacuum of information, speculation creeps in like oxygen, and everybody breathes it as fast as they can, and now you just have rumors. So they just need to pony up and just say whether or not it's happening.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I have actually, the last 2 weeks, I've had MLBTradeRumors.com on my computer, on my phone, not my computer at work, my phone while I'm at work, and I hit refresh every 20 minutes just to see what's happening.
Just to see,
I mean, something has to happen. With all the injuries that the Braves have had in the offseason, during spring training, something has to happen.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. You probably didn't catch this because you don't have a huge presence on Twitter like I do. But Dave O'Brien, who writes for The Athletic, who is basically the Atlanta Braves writer, was trying to say that A.J. Minter would start the season in Gwinnett, but because A.J. Minter's windup looks a lot like Craig Kimbrel, Dave O'Brien, he's deleted the tweet, so I know you're looking for it now. But Dave O'Brien did hashtag Kimbrel will start the season in Gwinnett. I about had a heart attack when I saw that tweet. And no more than 30, 45 seconds later, he said, I'm sorry, I typed the wrong thing, Freudian slip. He said he got 300 direct messages within 30 seconds of, what do you know?
Wow.
Is something happening? What's going on? So
that is something.
Braves fans are clamoring for Kimbrel to come to Atlanta.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's another contract we have to talk about before we get to picking who we want to win divisions. A team that's secondary to your heart, Mike Trout. 12 years, what was it, $430 million?
$430 million, yes.
And he's 26?
Yes, it actually works out where both him and Bryce Harper will be 39 at the end of their contracts.
And we thought 12 for 330 was a huge deal.
Yeah. Yep.
Move over, Bryce Harper. Hold my beer.
Right. Right. Well, hey, let me tell you, the dude's earned it. And I think that's one of the big things about Mike Trout is you find a guy who's fine being on the West Coast playing baseball while most of America is asleep.
Right.
For all intents and purposes, right? And having been to a couple of Angels games, the energy that he brings to that franchise, it makes perfect sense. I agree with some of the stuff I was reading online that it breaks a record, but it's also like the sale of the century type bargain too. Because I think what he does for them, knowing that he'll do it for the rest of his career, that he will play there, I think that means more to Anaheim than signing a bunch of people to put together a team to definitely win a World Series.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they kind of found their niche and they're playing it really well.
Yeah,
so
I agree. It's the opposite of a Bryce Harper move because in the Bryce Harper move, it is a guy trying to make the most of his career, a guy trying to go where the buck is. I think Mike Trout deserved a $500 million contract. I mean, he deserved something that big. I'm going to go against what I said last year. I said Bryce was probably the best player in Major League Baseball. Watching what I've seen just this offseason, with the humility, with the talent, I think Mike Trout is the guy you want in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
You know, people said when Nick Saban signed a contract at Alabama, they're paying way too much. Well, look at him now. We underpaid for Nick Saban.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think after 12 years, we could possibly be saying that the Angels underpaid for Mike Trout. Yeah. Will they win a World Series with him? I don't know. But if you want a guy who is going to promote your team like a Chipper Jones did for Atlanta, Chipper never won the World Series after that 95 World Series.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me that it was Chipper that won that World Series. It was the big three that won that World Series. I think that Chipper's best playing days were when the Braves were just winning divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Did we win a World Series? Yes.
Yeah.
But would we have traded Chipper Jones for a World Series? I don't think so. And I think Angels fans will be in that same boat. I think, yes, they want a World Series. That is what you're playing for in Major League Baseball. But if it's at the cost of losing Mike Trout, I don't think Angels fans will let that happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely agree. Can I word the impact of the deal? I found a hilarious article online that's factually accurate but worded it in a way that's amazing. He has locked in that he will make almost $500 million, and he doesn't even have to worry about what happens if he gets run over by a bus.
Wow.
The other way that they put it was that the Weather Channel sold last year for $300 million. And Mike Trout is actually, there's a YouTube video out there where he joins Mike Cantori, and he's actually a really like amateur meteorologist, weather nerd in a way, right?
Right.
Mike Trout could buy the Weather Channel and still have 9 figures in his bank account at the end of this contract.
Are you
so it's just crazy.
Me?
Yeah. It's just crazy when you think about like the size of that contract for him and what it means for him financially over the next 12 years. But again, I think it's a great move for them. And I'm honestly glad at the end of the day that karma-wise, it worked out where a guy like Mike Trout gets to make more money than a guy like Bryce Harper.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. All right, so we did it last year, and I think none of us picked right. But I think we're going to do it again this year. So, Adam, let's pick who here it is. We're 3 days before the Major League Baseball starts. So let's pick our division winners. Let's pick our wild cards. And then we're not going to go through the playoffs. Let's just say who we think will win the World Series. So let's start in the American League. Let's go with the American League West. You've just said that you're a huge Angels fan, secondary Angels fan.
Yep.
Do they have enough to push the Astros out of the division?
No, I don't think so. I think the Astros take the West.
Yeah, I'm going.
I think that I'll go ahead and spoiler alert. I think the Angels fall in one of the wild card slots for sure, but I don't think they'll dethrone the Astros.
Okay. I'm going to go I don't think I can disagree with you at all. I'm going to go Astros there as well. So let's move over to the Central. This is a division that could be up for grabs.
Yeah.
The Indians have really had it lately, but they've kind of moved some players around. I don't think they're as strong. The White Sox tried to get Manny Machado. They tried to get Bryce Harper. Is there anybody that can dethrone the Indians?
I think the Twins can. I think the Sox would be the next closest team. I think Cleveland will ultimately win this one. They'll grind it out, though. But I think the Twins could make a run at it.
I'm going to actually I like that the Indians could make a run at it. The Twins can make a run at it. I think the Twins do make a run at it. I think the Twins will make will win the Central Division.
Okay.
Let's move over to what could be the hardest division to pick, because we've got technically 3 teams that could come out of this division. The perennials, Yankees, Red Sox, but it looks like Tampa Bay is trying to make a run for their money. You're close enough to Tampa that you can go see some of these games. Do you think that somebody can dethrone the Red Sox?
If it is anybody, it's not going to be the Rays. It's going to be the Yankees.
Okay.
I think it's going to be your normal 1-2 who falls into which spot. I think that the second wild card will come out of whoever doesn't win this division. So
okay. So who's the win? You never told me who's winning the division.
I'm going to go with the Red Sox, with the Yankees taking the other AL wild card.
All right. I'm actually going to go with the Yankees winning this one here. I was high on the Yankees last year. I think I'm going to be high on the Yankees again this year. They've added some depth at pitching, and I think they've had some time to gel in that outfield. I'm going to go with the Yankees here.
Okay, cool.
So let's go.
Yeah, I will say I think the Rays might edge out the Angels for that other wild card spot, depending on how it goes. I think they could have a good enough team to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll make a run at the division.
Well, let's go ahead and say the wild cards. I think my wild cards are going to be Red Sox, and I'm going to go with the Indians. I think the Angels are close. I think it's going to be very close playing into September, maybe even the last couple of days or the first couple of days of October between the Angels and the Indians. But I do think it's going to be the Red Sox and the Indians.
Yeah, I think the investment that they're making in Mike Trout pays dividends in other ways that they wouldn't expect. I think that you've got the Yankees being the runner-up in the East, and then the Angels being the runner-up in the West are your 2 wild cards.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do this before we get to the National League. Who is your winner of the American League?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Astros.
That's a huge limb there, Adam.
It is a huge limb. That's why I'm doing it, Dave.
Yeah,
it says it in the intro. There are hot takes, man. That's my hot take. I think the Astros are going to take it.
I was being facetious.
That wasn't. Were you really?
Yes, that's an easy one. Easy.
So you got me built up. You got me built up, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually going to go. I said it last year. I was high on the Yankees. I hate the Yankees, but I'm going to be high on the Yankees this year.
No, I don't think that money's going to pay off like they want it to.
I don't
think it ever will.
It's going to be the Yankees. It'll be the
okay.
Yankees.
Well, we'll see.
All right, let's move over to the National League. Let's go to the. We know who we know who we want to win the East. Let's start in the West before we pick the East.
Okay.
So starting in the National League East, the Padres made some major moves, getting Manny Machado. The Dodgers are still the Dodgers, though. The Diamondbacks aren't going to be near as good as they were last year.
Nope.
I don't think the Giants are there. So between those 4 teams, who wins the West?
The Dodgers.
Yeah.
Hands down. I think they run away with it.
I don't think they run away with it. I think San Diego makes a run at it, but they're not quite there yet.
No, they're not.
It's going to be the Dodgers.
Yep.
So let's move to the Central. There are 3 teams that could theoretically win the Central. Between those 3 teams, between those 5, I'll say 5, between those 5 teams, who do you have winning the Central?
That's a tough one, man. I oscillate between the Cardinals and Cubs, and I could see the Brewers being in the mix too. If I had to pick one, I'm going to pick the Cubs.
See, I'm going to gun to my head. If I had to pick one today, I'm going Cardinals.
Yeah.
They added Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah.
And an argument can be made that Goldschmidt or Freddie Freeman are the best first baseman in the National League right now.
And possibly, I think Goldschmidt can make a run at MVP too.
Right.
So.
And in that field, at Busch Stadium,
yeah,
Goldschmidt can make a huge difference.
Okay.
So I'm going Cardinals here.
Okay.
And I don't want to pick the National League East. The Braves won the National League East last year. But there's another team that made a lot of moves, and Liberty Media didn't let the Braves make those moves. Is it enough to dethrone the Braves? Can the Phillies do it?
No.
Really?
I don't think the Braves make it either, though. I think it's going to be the Nationals.
What?
Yeah. So there you go. Is that hot enough for you, Dave?
That's a hot take.
I think that the Braves come in third behind the Nats and the Phillies, and I think the Phillies don't get the immediate return on investment from Bryce Harper that the fans are going to want, and I think they end up playing second fiddle in the division and having to fight the Braves for one of the 2 wild card spots.
So you don't think the Braves
which is going to send
playoffs?
Philadelphia into riots.
You don't think the Braves make the playoffs?
I think they're going to have to fight hard this year, harder than they had to last year for sure.
Wow.
I think they're going to have to fight.
Okay.
Because I'm telling you right now, if the front office isn't going to front the cash and Liberty Media is not going to undo the chains of the handcuffs.
I see what you did there.
So if they're not going to put into it, I think that the players are going to feel it too, and I think the fans are going to feel it, and I think overall it ends up being a little bit of a spiral, and I don't think we can overcome that this year.
Okay. All
so
right.
There you go.
Well, I'm going to go with the easy pick. I think Philly's going to win it. I think Philly has added enough. They've got the hot bats. They've got decent enough pitching. It's going to be close between Atlanta and Philly. I don't think Washington has everything. Keep in mind, they've lost Gio. They've lost Bryce.
Yep.
That's 2 huge holes in that lineup. You still have Juan Soto, but Juan Soto can't do what Bryce Harper and Juan Soto could do. Yeah. So I think it's going to be the Phillies, but it's going to be close between the Braves and the Phillies. I do think, even though we harp on them, I do think the Braves get it done, and they do sign Kimbrel. I think Kimbrel comes to the Braves in the next couple of days. Hopefully, by the time this podcast goes live. No, the podcast's going live in a couple hours.
No, you edit too fast.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. By the time you've listened to this podcast, the Braves will have signed Craig Kimbrel. But I do think that there might be some help coming for these Braves. But I don't think I
hope so.
Yeah, there's not going. I mean, Matt Joyce isn't Bryce Harper. I mean, let's go ahead and get that out of the way.
He's not, really?
No. Nick Markakis is not Bryce Harper.
What?
Nick Markakis.
Now you're just talking crazy, Dave.
Nick Markakis is a failure. So let's go ahead.
You've got the Phillies.
I got the Phillies, the Cardinals, and the Dodgers.
All right. So who are your wild cards?
My wild cards are the Braves and the Cubs.
Got it. Mine are
yours are going to be what?
The Phillies and the Cardinals.
Okay. So Braves and the Cubs will be playing to play the Cardinals. So the Braves are probably going to see the Cardinals again in the playoffs.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
God, that sucks. All right.
Yep.
So let's who do you have as your National League champions?
I'm going to go with the Dodgers.
So you've got Dodgers and Astros again.
Yes. Again.
Okay. I'm going to go, gosh, I don't want to do this. This is chalk, but this has been the year for chalk. Phillies and Yankees.
Wow.
I hate it, but I think
Dave, I wouldn't even turn one game of that on.
I would just because I like home runs. I couldn't
bring myself to do it. It's like watching Auburn win in the NCAA tournament.
I know.
Yeah.
I like home runs, though.
It's a good pick, though, Dave.
I know. I don't like it. So I've got Yankees and Phillies. You've got Dodgers, Astros. Who wins?
I said it last year. I'll say it again this year. This is the year for the Dodgers.
All right. So the kiss of death has been given by Adam Russell.
I apologize to the entire city of Los Angeles. Please feel free to call like Cleveland does and leave a message.
Oh, I said it last year. I'm going to say it again. Yankees win the World Series.
Okay. We'll see.
Yep. All right.
So either way, with either our picks, money wins. That's what we're saying.
There you go. Chalk wins in the NCAA this year. Chalk is going to win in baseball. We had kind of a unusual picks. Those were our picks. There's really not much basketball to pick. There's no football to pick. I mean, we could pick the AAF, but Birmingham lost. I don't care. So let's go ahead and go with the sideline warnings there, Adam.
Yeah, man. I am going to encourage everybody, like I do every year, really quick before I get into my main topic, to watch baseball. Go to a game. Take your kids, watch it on TV. Let it be part of your household like music or anything else. It is a fantastic sport. Have it on in the background. It's an American pastime. Enjoy it as much as you can now that it's here. So my major sideline warning kind of echoes something we already talked about. It is a message for one Mr. Greg Byrne, Mr. Gregory. We got to get this right, man. You got one shot. And I think that it's time for us to cast a vision. It's time for us to decide that we're going to be one of the teams that can win at more than one sport. And I think Fogs like Dave and I are ready to be believers in something beyond football. And so, Mr. Greg Byrne, it's time to make the right decision. The press conference was a great step. It was good transparency. It is time to actually choose somebody now who is going to take this program to another level, even if it is a mid-level for something greater later, a foundational type pick. It needs to be somebody that we can actually see a consistent product from and not lose in the first round of the NIT to an 8 seed. So let's get this done.
I agree. All right. So you heard in the new intro that this show has get off my lawn style rants.
Do we get one?
We get one.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
You ready? You ready? Millennials these days.
Oh no!
Oh, we're going. We are going there. We are going there. People don't like when coaches yell at you. Hey, Adam, Nick Saban, what did he do to A.J. McCarron against Mississippi State in A.J. McCarron's sophomore year? Did he ream him when we were up by 30 points?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, and did A.J. McCarron become one of Alabama's best quarterbacks in history?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So in the first round of the NCAA tournament, Michigan State almost lost to a 15 seed. And Tom Izzo, who is good friends with Nick Saban, was shown on camera going off on a freshman. Well, this made Twitter just go off. It blew up. Millennials were saying, oh my gosh, how could he yell at somebody? You're not supposed to yell at somebody. You're not supposed to do this. I'm sorry. I thought coaches were supposed to make you better. The Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. I went there, Adam. I saw that look on your face.
This is a good Lord, amen, get off my lawn, biblically based rant. That's even better.
The Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. If you want your child to be a hellion, if you want your child to be the kid in Target that throws down a temper tantrum in the toy aisle because you said no, they can't have that little figure, then go ahead. Use timeout. Go ahead and say, no, it'll be okay, honey. Go ahead, don't spank your kid, because that is what's going to happen. Your kid will be the teenager who tells you to F off because he doesn't know that the parent is the head of the household. Let me read you what Tom Crean, Georgia's head coach, who used to coach with Tom Izzo, said. Tom Crean, a couple of days after this happened at Michigan State, love pushes you and hugs you. Tom Izzo makes everyone around him accountable and responsible. I've been gone 20 years from his staff, and there is many a day I wish he'd tell and yell at me again. It always made me better. Look, I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but Adam, you know the relationship me and my father have. And I'm going to get real. This is going to be real time with Dave here. My dad and I don't see eye to eye. We never have, because I didn't like the discipline that my father gave me. But at 37 years old, I can now look back at my teenage years and say the discipline my father gave me, while I hated it at the time, while I hated my dad punishing me at the time, it made me the better man that I am now. It set the path for me to become the man I am at 37. If you are a 17, 18-year-old kid who gets mad because your coach yells at you because you didn't do something right in practice, learn from it. Do better next time, because you'll find the pride in yourself when your coach says, man, you did a great job the next time. Because if you don't learn from it, your coach will probably yell at you again. And he'll yell at you again. And he'll yell at you again until A, you get it and you do it better, or B, you go crying to your mommy and you quit the team. This is good Lord, get off my lawn style rants right here. Tom Izzo did nothing wrong. Tom Izzo was a coach. Tom Izzo was a father-type figure to that player on the court. if you saw half of what Bear Bryant did to his players at Junction, Texas in 1952 or 1953, Bear Bryant would not be allowed to coach right now. I feel sorry for this generation coming up. And I've said this. I'm sorry. I feel sorry for this generation coming up. If you think that the way Tom Izzo coaches, the way Nick Saban coaches, the way Bear Bryant coached, the way Gene Stallings coached, the way 99% of college coaches coach now, if you don't think that that's the right way to coach, I feel sorry for where athletics is going to be in the next 20 years. I feel sorry for where our country is going to be in the next 20 years.
America.
No, let me tell you, Chris Carter had a quote about that where he said that Coach Izzo made a promise to that kid and his parents in their own living room, and he said, I'm going to take your son and I'm going to grow him from a boy into a man. And that's what Aaron Henry got from him, because Aaron Henry can go play for Tom Izzo and get yelled at and then play in the NBA and make $468 billion and be financially set for the rest of his life. Or he can quit the team because he got yelled at and end up as a 30-year-old on Twitter griping because children are getting yelled at.
Exactly.
I mean, he can sit there and take it. And are Aaron Henry's parents upset? Is Aaron Henry upset? No, because Tom Izzo said himself, this is one and done time. You lose in the tournament, you go home. There's no prize for next best, second place, no participation trophies. You either make it or you don't. And there's too many second chances and too many choices in life that have made people think that you don't have to have an urgency. Trust me, I work with a lot of those people every day, hopefully none of whom listen to this podcast.
You didn't name names, so they don't know.
I didn't name names. I'm not talking, but it is the kind of thing where it's necessary, because it's like Nick Saban always talks about. Tom Izzo and coaches like him and Nick Saban, they're not there to win basketball games. They're there to grow and mold young men into people who will contribute beyond just that moment. And if he can help a freshman know, and now he doesn't ever have to yell at him again because he let him know, and if the message sinks in, you've developed somebody for the rest of their life.
Right.
And maybe some of these people on Twitter needed somebody just to do it one time, because I know a lot of people that needed just one time to be shut up. And they would be make a lot more contributions now than they do. But nobody's ever done that to them. And so they complain about other people. I mean, how are you going to complain? See, now you're getting me on it, Dave. How are you going to complain about somebody else getting yelled at?
Right.
Live your own life. I mean, you are on your phone complaining about a kid 1,000 miles away who's 18 years old getting yelled at. Get a life of your own.
Here we go.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh,
my bad, everybody. I'm taking Dave. Dave got me off on my soapbox.
This gets me on another soapbox.
Oh.
Upward Sports.
Hey, dude, now listen.
No, I'm going to go there.
You listen to me.
I'm going there right now.
Man, all right.
Upward Sports takes no score. There are no losers in this game. Yeah, there are. The team that scores the least amount of points loses. There is one winner and one loser. That's what's causing millennials problems today.
Upward sports and things like that. I used to coach upward flag football, and I coached upward soccer. Upward sports is the concrete that you pour to lay a foundation to teach a child about sports, because there are a lot of children that would not want to get thrust into a coaching situation like this. And trust me, in Florida, Little League Baseball, and in Alabama, you know it too, Little League Baseball, at 9 years old, these people are brutal.
Dude.
They're absolutely brutal. Upward Sports is a nice introduction for a lot of kids who wouldn't enjoy the big time of 9-year-old flag football that's not upward. Can I tell you a funny upward story, though?
Yeah, go for it.
So I had an upward team. It was 2006. I was coaching a team here and at a church locally, and bought into it. I held my nose with the whole score thing because I kind of agree with you on that, even though I'm arguing with you. But I coached my kids. You're learning Bible verses. You're learning about football. I had wristbands, and we had hand signals. We were doing the whole thing, man. We were having a blast. And they actually asked me to be the commissioner of the league the next year because I was so organized and all that, right? And I'm not bragging. This is just all context.
Oh, okay.
So the referee's son was on the other team in our age bracket, and all the referees would rotate. Well, he got our team, and you keep scoring your mind, and you know you're up 28. You know you're usually up like 21-0, 28-0. Well, there were only two teams in our age division, us and another team. So we played them every single week, and we beat them, quote unquote, every single week. Well, the one week we get this one referee, the other team's leading at halftime.
So he walks out to the middle of the field like they normally do. They put the ball in the air and they say, all right, starting the second half, the ball's at the 20. And the referee goes, and the score is 28-10.
Oh.
I lost my mind. If we're all going to live under this thing where the score doesn't matter, then we're all going to live under this thing where the score doesn't matter. I was livid. I told them, I will never... I pulled the lady aside. I will never be commissioner at your church if you got things like this. Guess who my pastor is now?
That referee.
That referee.
Hey, Adam.
I was sitting in church one day, and I'm like, man, I know this dude from somewhere. You know, and like the whole room kind of zooms in on him and everything. It's hilarious. But, hey, it is what it is, man.
Hey, Adam, how many times have I heard that story?
65.
Pretty close.
How many times have our listeners heard that story?
Okay, this is the first time.
One.
Yeah,
and
okay.
it directly relates to your rant on sideline on Upward Sports.
Yeah.
But I do think Upward Sports do give a good introduction for a lot of kids without pressure. But I would not say that you need to put your kid in Upward Sports for the entire time they play sports.
Okay. Do you know what kind of Upward Sports father I would be if my child was in Upward Sports?
You would be the guy calling in the hand signals on the sideline, me with my wristbands.
Yeah, that'd be close.
But you'd be like, no, you've got to hold it. Laces out.
Yeah.
Laces out. That would be you.
That would be me also, but if I wasn't coaching, I'd be the dad in the stands with the scorebook, taking score. And when my child got in the car, I'd say, look, you struck out here. You made an error here. Your team lost here. You might have gotten a ribbon for participation, but you lost. Give me that ribbon. You don't deserve it.
You'd be the dad on the drive home being like, all right, son, your QBR was only 7.96. We've really got to work on your completion percentage.
Nick Saban's not going to come calling with this record.
Maybe Johnny Manziel has a future in Upward Sports. Who
Oh,
knows?
we didn't talk about Johnny Manziel in the AAF beating Birmingham. Okay. But anyway. So
You whined a little bit about it,
I
but
did,
you didn't give time.
Yeah, so anyway. If you want to get a hold of the show, we said it in the opening, in the promo. What's the number to call, Adam?
It's 931-44-BLITZ. And hey, guys, look, we had a very rantful end there. I want somebody to call in with a rant. I want somebody else's rant. And the City of Cleveland, if it's you, we still love you, man. You can still call and get mad at us. You know, anybody out there that's got something that really grinds their gears, you know, like Peter Griffin says, right?
Go, Peter.
You know what really grinds my gears? If anybody has something, I want a rant to play on next week's show. I don't care who it is. I want somebody, 931-44-BLITZ. Leave a message with your rant. Let's get it on the show, and let's have one every single week from here on out, guys. I'm putting it on the audience. Let's do it.
How do you spell Blitz?
BLITZ, because that's how you spell blitz.
God, I love Grease. Also, you can get a hold of the show on Twitter. We are at SW The Show. I am at DAdams419. He is at RunTideRun. Wow, I almost said Ben's Twitter handle there just because I'm used to that.
Well, hey, still follow him.
Yeah,
like him, comment on him.
At the Ben Foster. He claims that he's one of the best basketball fans out there because he went to Canada and Hunter and Fluff didn't.
Yeah. They had a little rant. They had a little war about that, too, recently.
Today.
So
Actually,
check
yesterday, I think he did.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. All right. Also, we're on Instagram. We are SW The Show. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/SW The Show. Also, join the Facebook fan group. You will notice that the picture has changed. It is now mine and Adam's picture from the race from Star Wars, the first one we did a couple of years ago. So, guys, I said it last week. I forget to say this a lot, but go on iTunes, Google, however you like the show or listen to the show. Give us a 5-star rating and comment on what you like about the show. We only have 4 or 5 comments. We need some more comments out there saying how good the show is. Don't say bad comments, please. If you have a bad comment, shoot us a message on Twitter. But anyway, guys.
If you have a bad comment, leave a good Lord amen. Get off my lawn, rant on the Blitz line. Let's hear it that way, guys. Come on. That's how you hear it.
There you go. Guys, we say it every week. We love you. We mean it. Roll Tide. And Forge On. We'll see you guys next week.